Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Porte ISD, and thank you for being here. It is now 7:03 p.m. Tuesday, June 10th, 2025, and I hereby call this meeting to order. Notice of this meeting was posted in a manner required by law at 2 p.m. Friday, June 6th, and the subjects to be discussed and/or considered, or upon which formal action may be taken, have been listed. The Board of Trustees of the LaPorte Independent School District is now convened. Let the record show that all trustees are in attendance and a quorum is present. As a LaPorte ISD Board of Trustees, every student's success is our number one priority. We are here to set goals, adopt policy, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and communicate the district's vision and success to the community. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of this district are the responsibility of the superintendent. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. School board meetings are open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. However, audience participation is limited to the stakeholder presentation portion of the meeting. The board members may not respond to those comments made in the public comment section. These proceedings may be recorded, and I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking. At this time, will you please stand for the presentations of colors presented by the LaPorte ROTC. And tonight we have Cadet Major Dylan Thatcher, Cadet Command Sergeant Major Danica Hines, Cadet Captain Kaylee Bailey, and Cadet First Sergeant Eden Gloria.
Guard. Halt. Left. Face. Present. Colors.
Follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Order. Colors. Colors. Post. Ready. Seat. Present. Arms. Order. Arms. Center. Face. Mark time. March. Forward. March.
If you will now bow your head for tonight's invocation given by Trustee Miss Karen Wheeler Hall.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Be with us in our deliberations and help us to be wise in the decisions we make for the good of all of those who have placed their trust and confidence in our leadership. Give us insight to lead with integrity, that our decisions may reflect what is right and good. Dear Lord, grant us the humility to always seek your will in all that we do and say. Amen.
Be seated. We will now move on to item 5, our board recognitions. Tonight's recognitions will be presented by Director of Communications, Mr. Adam Holland.
Good evening, everyone. We are going to begin our recognitions tonight with the LaPorte Youth Advisory Council. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Youth Advisory Council, it's a group of 9 LaPorte High School students working to promote teen engagement and advocacy in the community. Serving as a bridge between youth and city leaders, the council shares teen perspectives to help shape city policies. They recently completed their first year with a mural project at the Jenny Riley Community Center. It's a true highlight. If you haven't seen it, you really should. We congratulate and thank these students for their service. And representing the group tonight is Lucas Halberdier. He's the inaugural vice president. Where's Lucas? Come on. Sure. We would also like to recognize LaPorte Assistant City Manager Matt Dahmer, Mayor Rick Helton, and the city's department coordinator Sherry Rodriguez, who facilitated this council on the city's end. And from LaPorte ISD, Jancy Alfaro, our district's SEL and Wellness Coordinator, and Councilor Brenda New, both organized and oversaw the district's participation. Again, many thanks to all of you. I'm your official photographer. Okay, I see everybody. Next up is our JROTC program from LaPorte High School. The JROTC is always there when we need them, whether it's posting the colors here at the board meetings and special events, helping with parking, or guiding guests with professionalism and poise. Oh, there you are. Okay. Their consistent support and willingness to serve in so many ways do not go unnoticed. We're deeply grateful for their dedication and service to our community. And we welcome Captain Hector Echeverria to introduce the LaPorte High School cadets who have joined us this evening.
Thank you. We have over 70 cadets. Unfortunately, it is summertime, and we do have the 4 color guard. First, we have our second in command. It's Major Thatcher. And then we have Command Sergeant Major Himes. We have Captain Bailey and First Sergeant Gloria.
Go back up just a little bit. There you go. We're a lot of things. Thank you all very much.
Also, it needs to be mentioned before you guys leave the room, our JROTC program on Father's Day, the 15th of June, which is a week from Sunday. No, it's this Sunday. Oh, wow. So they're headed to Washington, D.C., where they are among 40 groups from around the world to compete in a leadership contest there.
He's commanding the team. They started with 1,700 schools, and we're down to 40 in the nation, and he's going to lead the team.
That's awesome.
We would now like to recognize the departments and individuals in support services whose service to this district is nothing less than outstanding. When I call your department, leaders, if you would please bring anybody that you've brought with you, your team up here, we're going to gather up here and get a picture with the board. First, transportation. Alyssa Rice, where are you? Without our dedicated bus drivers who travel thousands of miles each year to safely transport our students, there would be no school. They're the first friendly faces students see each morning and the last in the afternoon, setting the tone for a positive school day. Their reliability, care, and commitment to safety make them essential to our school community success. You want to tell us who you brought this evening?
So thank you, Adam. And while it does take about over 120 employees to run our department every day, but tonight we have with us Miss Samantha Pugh, Miss Lisa Tello, Miss Elena Renaga, and Miss Belinda Chapa.
Next up, nutrition. I know I saw Ralph.
Adam, let's take a picture with this group first.
Get a little credit up here.
Get a little crowd.
Plus we want them to be.
Nutrition. Our incredible nutrition team fuels student success by providing healthy, delicious meals with care and consistency every day. Their dedication to student well-being creates a warm, welcoming environment where every child is nourished and ready to learn. Thank you, nutrition.
Good evening, everyone. We have about 80 team members on, in the team, but tonight we have Ms. Sarai Jones, our high school manager, representing them. Thank you, Sarai. She's also our department manager of the year.
Fantastic.
Maintenance and custodial. Our maintenance and custodial teams are the unsung heroes who keep our schools running safely, smoothly, and beautifully every single day. Their hard work, attention to detail, and unwavering commitment ensure that students and staff enjoy clean, well-maintained environments where learning can thrive. We are deeply grateful for their dedication and pride in their work.
So thank you. So with me today we have Miss Misty Mickeline. This is our manager of planning and facilities, and our project foreman, and just an outright LaPorte legend here in the community. This is Mr. Jeffrey Wade.
Finally, instructional technology. Our instructional technology team consistently empowers educators with innovative tools and expert support to enhance teaching and learning. Their dedication and creativity drive meaningful digital transformation across our schools. Brad, would you like to introduce your team?
Thank you. I have with me today Mr. Michael Norris. He's our most senior system administrator and leads that group. Amanda Majid, she's the program manager for our instructional technology specialist, and our help desk coordinator in charge of our technicians, Mark Escobar.
Like that time. It's Marty.
We want to try to do that. Finally, our school resource officers. LaPorte ISD's Board of Trustees was among the first boards in Texas to ensure that a school resource officer was on each of our campuses all day, every day. Our SROs are true pillars of our community, blending professionalism, compassion, and dedication to create safe and supportive environments for all. Their daily presence offers not only protection, but mentorship, guidance, and a sense of trust that enriches our school culture. We're grateful to our SROs for helping to ensure our safety and security every day of the year. I now introduce you to SRO Sergeant Brian Larkey, who will help us recognize the SROs in attendance this evening.
I'm going to let Chris hold this.
I want to thank the board for recognizing us tonight. Tonight I have with me Officer Shane Neal, Officer Chris Page, Officer Barry Groening, Officer Justin Dean, and our Lieutenant Matthew Novosad.
You can use your outside voice.
Y'all scooch this way just a little.
Okay. All right. So we just
The board will now hear those who wish to make comments and who have completed and returned the public comment participation request. This section will be conducted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act and board policy. As such, this is a reminder that board members may not respond to those comments made in the public comment section. Complaints and/or concerns for which other resolution channels are provided shall be directed through those channels. Vice President Martin, do we have any registered speakers?
Mr. President, we do have 2 speakers this evening. The first, Mr. Chris Raines, 1617 Valley View Drive. Mr. Raines.
Can I pass this deal? Sure.
Yes, sir.
So I'm not much of a public speaker, so it's probably easier to read this. First off, I'd like to thank y'all for volunteering your time for looking out for our youth in this community. My son is going into 10th grade. So he signed up for the golf team this past year. It was a great program, but I think there's some gaps that can be filled, and it's all written on that paper. The main thing is, there's a couple things, transportation, for them to get to the golf course and back, because they don't have a facility to practice here. The other thing is to have a place to practice here when it's raining outside or the golf course is closed. When we go to these tournaments, fortunately I've been able to make every one of them. It's very reflective that they're behind some of the other schools because of some of these small things. There's rumors, they were supposed to get a room, they were supposed to have this, they were supposed to have that, it just hasn't happened. I don't know if those are rumors or not. I emailed the athletic director, we never did get back together to talk personally. So I haven't gone that far with it. If they have a training room, they need 12-foot ceilings, so it'd have to be a special room so they don't hit the ceiling with the golf club and things like that. There's not much recognition. There's a bunch of kids that don't even know golf exists in LaPorte, and it shows. If they have 50 or 100 kids to choose from, then I think this program will be stronger. I never see anything in the paper or anything like that. I don't know who's responsible for that, if it's the coaches, who it is. So I think that would help get the word out. Because I do see smaller kids at the golf course that are in junior high that might really like the program and help the program grow. As far as I know, like I said, it's rumors. There's only $2,400 that was given to the program between the girls and the boys, which is about $30 altogether. Most of it's supported by the Booster Club. Thankfully, there's parents that chip in, hit up businesses. They go through about $10,000 a year in tournaments. So that's mainly supported by the Booster Club. So with them having a training room and a place to store their stuff, right now they share an office with the swim team coach. Those two share an office. So the only reason I bought this, y'all can see what they carry every day for 6 miles on their back whenever they're playing the course. Well, they have to bring that every day to school if they're not fortunate enough to have a vehicle or not old enough. So they're dragging that into school every day and they don't have no place to put it. And some of y'all might play golf. Y'all know how much money's in that bag. And you know how kids are. They're going to horse around and you don't want that floating around the school down the hallway. So that's my main concerns, not a place to train, and just a little bit more support. Not necessarily financially, because the parents have been great. We have been raising money, but that would be nice too. But not only just a facility, more recognition and better transportation. Luckily, Chad Forbes is a great guy. Blue is a great person. Both of them are really good with the kids. Forbes is a CDL Class A driver, so he's fortunate to have him, but sometimes they're not able to go to practice because he's driving the polo team or he's driving the weightlifting team. So it takes away from the other ones. I know y'all are short on drivers. I mean, there's signs everywhere all the time, it's hiring drivers. And I understand it sometimes, but you can notice when you go to these tournaments that they're not getting enough time to practice. Also, when they didn't start practicing until about 3 weeks before the first tournament. So you have a kid that's never played golf before, hit a golf course. He doesn't know the etiquette or anything because he hasn't had that time. And the excuse I heard was because they don't have their physical yet. Well, if Johnny doesn't have his physical, Johnny goes home and the rest of them goes to golf course, is the way I see it. So I know football and baseball and other boys' sports that I know other kids, you don't have your stuff put together, then you don't get to practice, you don't get to play. So I don't know what the gap is there. Like I said, there's a lot of rumors that all I'm hearing. I've never heard directly a discussion about finances, about some of this other stuff, so I'm going to take it as a rumor. But I just wanted to come to y'all and express there is a gap, a void to fill there, and I think it's a great program, and I think it could grow and be a great representation. Thank you for your time.
As I mentioned in the policy, we can't comment on the topic
feel
specifically,
free.
but I just always want to acknowledge anybody that takes the time to come up here and speak and address the board. We respect that immensely, and we thank you for being an advocate for your kid, and just continue to do so. Just be patient with the process.
Likewise, thank y'all for volunteering.
Thank you.
Mr. President, our second speaker is, I apologize, I mispronounced, Jana Cambron, 114 Summer Breeze Drive, speaking on in-district transfers.
I apologize, I'll be reading from my phone.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to discuss in-district transfers for the upcoming school year. I've been trying to complete one to keep my son at the junior high closest to our house geographically and his sibling who will be at Baker. Earlier this year, the district website said that applications will be available February 17th through March 17th via a link on the website. That link was never posted, and I tried for over a week to get in touch with someone to see when it would become available. When I finally received a call back at that time, I was informed that district was moving to a new process via a QR code and would be posted on April 23rd. Again, I gave it a week after that date, but it was never posted. I began my calling after that and was told to call the junior high we are zoned to, and then they sent me back to Baker that they would have the link since we are currently enrolled there. It was immediately sent over and I submitted it. Within 30 minutes, I received a denial letter. I inquired as to the reason and if it also had to do with the new system that keeps getting pushed back. I was informed I would be told more information when they knew more. I have also been told the district isn't going to do transfers for junior high and has never done them at that level, which is false. I am here tonight as a parent who is tired of chasing down answers when it's clear not one school has clear answers on what the correct process is. If this previous process worked and the new system isn't ready, why are we not utilizing the old one for now? All the while, we are also actively allowing out-of-district kids to enroll. In previous years, this process is done and resolved before the school year lets out for spring break. As of today, the website still remains outdated after I have brought to their attention many times. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, board, we will move on to item 7, the election of board officers and reorganization of the board for the 2025-2026 school year. Superintendent Dr. Walter Jackson will act as the President Pro Tem for the election of board officers. Dr. Jackson.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Thank you. At this time, the board will now reorganize by electing a president, vice president, and secretary. In order to conduct the election, I will serve as the President Pro Tem. And at this time, board members, as President Pro Tem, it is my responsibility to oversee this reorganization. And at this time, I ask the board for consent to use the roll call election method. In the method, the board will be called upon, one at a time, to announce a nominee of their choice. If there is more than one nominee for an office, and a majority of votes are not cast for any one candidate, voting will continue until one nominee receives a majority. If there's only one nominee for a position, that person is declared elected, and I will not call for a vote. We will begin with elections for the board president. Board members' nominations are now in order for the office of Board President. And I will begin with Ms. Hall. If you have a recommendation or a nomination for Board President.
Jeff Martin.
Ms. Thompson?
Jeff Martin.
Mr. Paris?
Jeff Martin.
Jeff Martin.
Walter Jackson.
Jeff Martin.
Do I have to say his name? He's mean to me, but Jeff. Jeff Martin.
Jeff implement dress code my first.
Members of the board, Jeff Martin is nominated for the office of President. Are there other or further nominations for President? If not, nominations are now closed. Congratulations, Jeff Martin. You have been declared elected for the office of President, sir. We will now continue with the position of Board Vice President. Board members' nominations are now in order for the office of Vice President. I'll begin with Mr. Shoppy this time.
Oh, really?
The nominations.
Perez.
Okay. Ms. Crutcher?
Perez. Whatever your last name
Ms.
is.
Crutcher?
Sorry, you make it fun.
Ms. Martin? Ms. Hanks?
Not Mason. Good job. Mason.
Okay. So, Mr. Perez has been nominated for the office of Vice President. Are there further nominations for Vice President? If not, nominations are now closed. Congratulations, Mason. You are now the Vice President. And now we will move to the office of Board Secretary. Board members and nominations are now in order for the office of Board Secretary. We'll start with Ms. Karen Wheeler Hall.
Melissa Crutcher.
Okay.
Melissa.
Melissa Crutcher.
Melissa?
You
can nominate yourself if you'd like.
Unless you're nominating.
Unless you're nominating me.
Melissa. You could have said the name. It says.
Melissa Crutcher has been nominated for the office of Board Secretary. Are there further nominations for the Board Secretary position? If not, nominations are now closed. Congratulations, Ms. Crutcher. At this time, we'll just take a few moments to reorganize because chairs will need to move, okay?
Chairs with the vote.
What about the vote?
If I could take I'm asking for a special privilege, the very first thing. If it's okay with Danny and the rest of the board, can we keep it, let him go through the rest of the meeting? Because I will butcher up the meeting.
You can direct that.
So if you're okay with it, Danny, we please finish out this meeting, and then we'll get it all together and be ready to go.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I can say one more time, let's give everybody a round of applause for the new office.
All right, and we will move on to item 8, public hearing to discuss the budget and tax rate for fiscal year 2025-2026 school year. A presentation of the budget. Our CFO, Ms. Stacy McDowell. Howdy, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Presentation. I have a presentation, but it's a PDF, and I apologize. I know there's a way to make PDF to show.
Brad, let's get some help, please. There you go.
There's a full screen mode. There we go.
All right.
Where they? Okay. All right, good evening, Board of Trustees and Dr. Jackson. The following presentation is for the fiscal year 2026 proposed budget for the general fund, our debt service fund, and our food service fund. House Bill 2 was signed by the governor on the evening of Wednesday, June 4th. Our financial consultants are working to clarify the wording of the bill and building a template for districts to calculate the financial impact of that bill. So due to the lack of knowing exactly how the full financial impact impact us and our funding, we will ask the board tonight to adopt the budget based on school finance law that is prior to June 4th, prior to the signing of House Bill 2. Every district with a July 1st fiscal year start must determine how to prepare the next year budget when there is a legislative session. Do they base it on what they know, which is current law, or do they do a guesstimate based on what the future law might hold? These districts have been encouraged by school finance experts to build their fiscal year budget on current law and to amend the budget when they know the actual financial impact. Once the financial impact for LaPorte ISD is calculated, we receive our certified property evaluations. We will amend the fiscal year 2026 budget to reflect the changes for our district. The amendment will be given to the board to approve at the September 2025 meeting. After the public hearing tonight, you will be asked to adopt the fiscal year 2026 budget and compensation plan that's presented to you. Okay. So we have, as we discussed, our discussion topics are going to be our general fund budget, our debt service fund budget, and our child nutrition. And then, of course, as always, if there's any questions, please let me know. So to begin with our general fund, the tax rate that we are recommending is an M&O tax rate of 0.8023, a debt service rate of 0.6219, and our total tax rate would be 1.0642, and that is per $100 of a homeowner's tax valuation. Our enrollment estimates, our projected enrollment is around 7,100, a little bit. We always kind of go up like maybe 1% to hope. Our projected average daily attendance is around 6,400. Again, that is a guesstimate. We will obviously hope for much higher than that. And our projected weighted average daily attendance is 8,998. A projected weighted average daily attendance is, it takes all of the different types of our students and their attendance. Every student's weighted differently. Our HCAD valuations are right around $15 million, and along with Chambers County, we have a tiny little piece that's in Chambers County. And when you subtract out our Chapter 13 abatement, which is our valuation reduction for Chapter 13 contracts, we estimate that our adjusted taxable value for maintenance operation would be right at $14.7 billion. And as you can see on the other side of your graph there, it gives you our 2023 value, our 2024 value. Those are actuals, and then the estimated 2025 broken up by our different, all the different types of properties that we have. So I just want to point out that our residential is just around $2 billion, and everything else is industry and commercial, and that is $13 billion to make up our $15 billion. So our general fund revenue, I highlighted the blue, that is the proposed budget. That's what we're going to discuss tonight, but you do see the actuals of 2024 fiscal year, what our amended budget and our estimated actuals are for 2025, and then our proposed budget, and then we have a delta to actual. Again, the actual is estimated because our fiscal year is not over yet. We are continuing to pay out, we are continuing to pay people, and we haven't completed our year-end closeout, which is when we do all of our journal entries that are required by our auditors. So our local revenue is going to be $125 million, so it's an increase of $18 million. Our state revenue is $7.5. Our federal revenue is just $300,000. So it gives us a total revenue for 25-26 of $133 million. As we go on to our general fund expense, you see it's broken out by our functions. Again, it's laid out the same way, 24 actual, fiscal year 24 actual, our 25 amended budget, and what our estimate evaluations we think we're going to end up at the end of the year, June 30th, and then our 25-26 proposed budget, and then our delta to actuals. So as you go down, you can see the highest functional budgeted amount that we have is our almost $51 million, which is in instruction, which is our salaries for our campus teachers and everything that's needed for our classrooms. The next highest expense is our recapture, which is going to be right at 44.5 million budgeted. And then our third highest is our maintenance and operations, which is our 12.5 million. That is our property insurance, our utilities, and just the actual maintenance of our buildings. So in total, the proposed budget is going to be $141 million. So as we put that together on the next slide, looking just at our proposed budget, we have revenues of 132 million and our expenses are going to be 141 million. So that is a deficit of 8.2 million. Again, the fund balance beginning is an estimate of 50 million because we don't know where we're going to end this year. So that will change. But that would leave us at 42 million with a fund balance if the proposed budget happens as it is. But we already know it's not because House Bill 2 is going to come in and change that. So offset, yes ma'am. It's going to offset. We know we are getting different allotments that we've never had before. We're going to get hopefully $1 million towards our insurance because we are one of those districts that's on the coast. We are going to get more funding for our safety and security. We're going to get more funding for our special education students. There are a lot of different pieces of allotments that we are going to get. But TEA is still determining what exactly that is and how does that calculation work into the report that they have is called the Summary of Finance. That's what you can go on their website and you see it, and it tells you all the allotments. And we provide information throughout the year to TEA for them to build that Summary of Finance. But right now, they don't even have a Summary of Finance built that pulls in what House Bill 2 is going to do for all the public school districts.
What is the magic number that we try to keep in our fund balance for sure for the number of days that we can save that for?
Right. Right now, we try to keep 150 days. So this 42 million is not going to match that. We don't make it with but it gives us 109 days. But again, like our recapture piece is going to drop because what they're going to do is offset. So the allotments that we get are going to be offset by the recapture. So we know that that's going to drop. We also know that some of our revenue is going to go up because how they're going to calculate out how much a district is going to get. So and their available school fund and foundation payments. So all of that is up in the air. So, but right now at this proposed budget on current law as of June 4th at 5 p.m., $42 million is 109 days. Of course. Yes, it does. Yes, sir, it does.
Are they doing the insurance rebate?
The allotment?
The allotment. Are they doing it the same for each district on the coast, or is it per district?
It's not. The TA hasn't told us that yet. They have calculated out some way in the Senate and legislation. During the session, the people who came up with that part of the bill, they have the calculation, and TEA has not released that to districts. Like, what is that made of? But once I know, you'll know.
Just because I don't know when else to say it, but I do want to point out again to the people at home that are watching that the number 2 expense on the Porte ISD's entire budget is recapture or Robin Hood, the money that they're going to carve out that we send back to the state of Texas. And the state, the Porte ISD, with the estimated that it's non-final yet for 2025 on the TEA website, shows that LaPorte ISD is the 11th most heaviest contributor. Out of every school district in the entire state of Texas, out of 1,200 or whatever districts, or 1,180 or whatever it is, LaPorte ISD is paid back to the state in local tax revenue, a total of $759 million back to all the way back to 1994. And here we are, even with trying to be conservative and look at our budgets, we're still running a deficit budget when we've got a tax base, a revenue stream here within, it baffles me. It blows my mind that we're still in this situation. And while I acknowledge the legislator made strides to address some of the funding shortfalls, Robin Hood has to be addressed in the totality of legislation. It's got to be addressed. It is out of date. It's out of touch. It's placing a burden on districts that don't need to shoulder that burden. And it's unfortunate. And again, it's an old system, and I know it's been tied up in litigation for 3 decades. But the fact remains is I want people to know at home that this district, the number 2 expense in the entire budget, is the money that we take out of LaPorte and send to Austin.
And we're number 2 in the area behind HISD.
Yes, number 2 in the entire Houston area behind HISD only. And that is, and for all the heavy commerce, the truck traffic, the port, and all of the things that people complain about on a daily basis, to not reap any of the benefits of that tax base. It's infuriating. And yet here it is, every year we're repeating the same message over and over again. But to be the 11th in the entire state, it's unbelievable to me. And so people look at your websites, go to TEA.gov and look up the recapture. It's got a total in there, and it will just, $44 billion has been recaptured or reappropriated in this state since 1994. $44 billion. So,
And we're going to add $35 million to it next week
And
when we cut our check for this year.
So anyway, again, people want to talk about cutting here and cutting there, and the biggest expenses is glaring in our face. It's right there. And, there's another one later when we talk about our average daily attendance, and we're missing, we're getting paid 93 cents on the dollar. We build a budget, we support a school, we build a district and infrastructure to support 7,200 students, and yet we only get money for 6,300 students. And I don't understand the rhyme or the reason for it, but those are the 2 challenges for public schools, and LaPorte ISD is not immune at all. Sorry, rant over.
Hold on, I want to add something to your rant. I would go a step further. The amounts that our district and every other district who pays into recapture goes into the general fund for the state of Texas, of which we have no accountability to be able to see that is really helping another district throughout our state. I think that is absurd, considering the amount of transparency and capability that is expected of every school district in the state, for them to be able to just take that money and put it in the general fund. No wonder we have such a surplus in the rainy day. I mean, it's not a surprise to any of us who serve on the school board why the state of Texas has a surplus. It is absolutely no surprise. Okay, now my rant's over.
Can I ask you
Of course.
previous slide?
Okay. No, of course.
On the previous slide, I bring it up because one of our, first budget meetings, we talk about staff development, the idea of maybe putting a marginal amount on each campus. And I know that I see that it went up about $30,000, and I'm putting you on the spot, so if you don't have the answer, I apologize for asking right now. But do you know, is that extra $30,000 what that's going to this year?
That staff development is broken up. I can get you the information, but this is high level, and so it's broken up by each campus has a certain budget. They get to allot how they want towards staff development, and then also in the administrative building, we have our own budgets that we put into that function. So,
okay. So it is going up. That's good.
I will get that for you.
Okay. And then while you're on that, if you could, I know it saves us money, right? So it kind of look at it as a good thing. But staff development, to me, we budget this money, but they didn't spend, what is it, $100 and something thousand that we even budgeted. So I'm just curious. I know every year things don't get spent, but to me, the staff development, I was curious. We had answers to why they're. Is it on a campus level? Is that the administrative level?
Once I dive down and to see what they spent last year versus what they spent this year, the budget-wise, I'll be able to show you what they budgeted for, and we'll have that for you tomorrow.
Perfect.
Okay. That wraps up general fund. Before I move on, is there any other questions before we move to debt service? Okay. So again, our debt service fund, it's set up the same way with our fiscal year
2024 actuals, our amended budget for 25, and our estimated actuals, and then our proposed is in the blue. And so for 2025, fiscal year 2026, our INS budget is going to be 0.2619, our valuation of 15 billion. We expect to receive revenues on that of 42 million, and our total expenditures are going to be 37. And the expenditures at this point do not include, we just had a bond sale on June 4th. Yes, on June 4th. So June 4th was a big day for the district. And that was the $43 million that we sold on our third bond sale. So we will have payments coming up, and they're going to be about $3 million. So that's going to also be added into that total expenditure there. So we're going to be right at $40 million for total expenditures, which would give us add about $2 million back into our fund balance. As you see in our fiscal year 25, we're actually drawing down about $3 million from our fund balance of $50 million. So we would end right at 12.9 million, and then add back another 2. So we'll be right back close to 15 million again. For our food service, same situation. We'll look at fiscal year 26 in the blue. So we believe our total revenues are going to be 5.2 million, and we're going to have a balanced budget, y'all. We're going to have $5.2 million of expenses. So, yay, So, you know, we have, the district has been blessed to be a part of the free breakfast and lunch period, but we still get paid. The district, the TA still pays the district back for every meal. We get reimbursed for every meal, per meal basis, but it's not on a student eligibility basis anymore. And so that's why, if you can see the actuals, it's for fiscal year 25, we're going to end right at 5.2. And so this year was a really great learning experience for us to see, okay, what do we expect for next year? And it was an overwhelming success, as Ralph has explained to y'all in a previous board meeting, that I think it's like 80% of our students eat, or I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's...
there are days when 88 to 90% of the kids go there.
Yes.
Yeah. Are we going to qualify for that next year as well, or do we not know that yet?
Yes.
I have done everything in my power to let the state know that we still qualify, we're still interested in it, but there are powers that be that can make decisions that could easily shift us out of the running for it.
But as far as we know right now, we are good to go.
At this time, we're good to go. And it'd be very surprising for a decision this late, because budgets are now traded, so it'd be kind of baffling, but troublesome if something changed at this point. So. Thank you.
And also, for just one other thing, for our food service budget, we are required to, we can't have an overabundance of fund balance. It's against the law to have so much. So Ralph and his team worked really hard to make sure that we fall in the allotment that's allowed for a district our size. And so with that 1.4 million, we're in that, so we're good.
So what is I know the federal and the local revenues are, but what is the state, like that 20,000 we get from the state? What is that? Sorry, Brett.
Is the 20,000?
Every year the state looks at our previous lunches served for the second preceding school year and gives us 10, 15 cents, and usually comes out to about 20,000, maybe 19, 18. I expect a little more next year, because we're still less, because they're counting the COVID meals. It's a funky calculation.
It's 2 years behind.
Yeah. So yes, sir, it's a small percentage that the state gives us to help cover costs.
Good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ralph. So just to kind of go over our next steps here. So June 10th is today. We are having our public hearing to discuss our budget, and we will ask the board to adopt our fiscal year 26 budget and compensation plan. July 1st is when the fiscal year begins, and we will start using the budget to pay our employees and start providing every expense needed for the district to continue to run. July 28th, we will receive our certified taxable values. On August 5th, we'll get our maximum compressed rate, and having all of those, plus we'll know hopefully what House Bill 2 is going to do for us. So we plan to bring in the September meeting to have you adopt the tax rate And then also, we will give you an amended budget so that we can now start having conversations of really where we are. Any other questions? That's it.
I got a dumb question.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I'm full of questions tonight.
No, it's fine.
So this is obviously the general fund, debt service fund, and nutrition. Are there any other funds? I know like campus funds. Are there any other funds that we don't have budgetary authority to like oversee or to vote on?
These are the only three by law that you have to adopt.
Okay, so but what are the other like? Again, I know about like the campus stuff.
Right.
Is there any other things that like?
So we have, yes, all of our grants.
Okay.
We have our ECC, and we have Crenshaw. I'm just kind of naming off different funds that we budgeted for. Our bonds. So everything that is in the back of the budget book, we give you what the capital project budget, what we estimate it to be, and we also give you what we are estimating for our grants that are coming from the federal grant. Of course, we received the $250,000 grant. We just got it, so that's not in this budget, but yes, another big, thank you so much for that. We are very appreciative of that, but by law, these are the only three that you have to adopt. But we provide the information on all the other funds in our financial statements, and then also in the back of the budget workbook.
I appreciate the clarity, and part of the reason I bring it up, I know again, we don't have oversight really over like the campus budgets, and I know it got brought to light at one of our meetings last time. The campuses, the state, it's the state, not us, we're doing the state funding, is kind of cutting back on our ability to fund some tutors. And so if you guys could give us a number, I know we're going to vote on this budget tonight, but in addition to a subsequent meeting, if we could just, if that gap is not too far away, we can look at maybe kicking, I don't speak for the whole board, but the possibility of kicking additional dollars from our general fund or from whatever fund, and to help offset some of that cost of those tutors, because again, I think unanimously the campuses will tell you that they're having an impact, a positive impact on test scores and the overall morale, I believe, of the schools. And again, hopefully it's not a huge delta to bridge that gap, but I know you don't have that number tonight, but if there's possible,
I'll have it to you for tomorrow.
And then the last thing I want to say, because it got brought to our attention, teachers hear about, the potential of that $5,000. So we made a point. We've already said it tonight that the House Bill 2 stuff is not included in this. So if anybody's watching tonight, we want to tell them, again, our goal is to get everybody, as legally possible, funded, get that $5,000 bonus. And we are going to vote, obviously, a 4% raise for everybody else, but that is not part of this plan, right? So just to clarify to anybody that's watching,
Absolutely.
that will become a little bit later on.
Right, and that will be built in September. PA right now is trying to determine. They haven't let it out.
Yep.
To the public yet of exactly who qualifies for that allotment.
They haven't defined each.
They have not defined it yet. But once I promise you right now, every district is on pins and needles. I've already been at 3 meetings just in the past 2 days, and that is the number one question.
Yeah, it is. We brought this point up amongst ourselves. It's beneficial to us. We want to put as many teachers under that category as possible, because that bonus is paid by the state, right? So it helps our budget. So we're not going to try to exclude anybody from that. We're going to do our absolute best to. I'm going to say gray area, Chris. He's looking at me. We got to operate legally, obviously, but we want to do what we can to get everybody covered.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That is absolutely true.
The only thing I was going to just add, Trustee Martin, is that a great deal, and not all of it, by the way, but a great portion of tutorial funds, and help me with this, Stacy and Jennifer, but a great portion of that comes through title funding as well, right? So there is some local dollars that go into tutorials, but a great portion of it, because many of our kids fall into those title.
Right. Every one of our districts, every one of our campuses is a title.
But we can certainly provide the board with some of that information.
Yes, I have written down that I will get you what our tutoring budget was for each campus and what fund for the last year, and then what we have planned for this year, and then also our staff development for the past 2 years.
And so I'll say this, because I'm always want to ask you, more money. You guys, again, the development was an example of that. There's several other items where you guys have really listened to the board and helped put some additional dollars into these things, so we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Very much. And so tonight, just to make sure that we're, again, everybody listening at home, we know we have a broader audience, is that this budget, by law, we have to take action on, approve a budget by June 30th, because our fiscal year starts July 1.
Yes.
So, but we understand that we will be making amendments when we return from summer, and we will have clarity on House Bill 2.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions right now, board?
No, sir.
All right, so we will now have a public hearing that is hereby open at 7:57. The board will now hear public comments for those who wish to discuss the proposed 2025-2026 fiscal budget. Is there anyone in attendance who would like to make comment on the budget? Not all at once. Is there anybody on this panel that would like to make comment? Okay, going once, going twice. That's over. I hereby close that at 7:57:49. And if there's no objection, board, I would like to move item 11A and seek a motion to adopt the fiscal year 2025-2026 annual budget for general fund, debt service, and food service. Seek a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second by Mr. Sharpie. A call for the vote. Hit your deal and then the send. So that is unanimous 7-0. Thank you, board. The motion is carried. All right, so we'll move on to item 9, our administrative report. Dr. Jackson, I know you wanted to start off with some announcements and...
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I'd like to, we're certainly proud to introduce to you a new administrator, and we asked him to come tonight. And so we would like to introduce, and I have his, Mr. Matthew Boutan Bloomberg. Would you please stand? Let's give him a warm welcome. Matthew Boutan Bloomberg joins LaPorte ISD as the new assistant principal at Lomax Junior High. Mr. Bloomberg comes to us from Dickinson ISD with 8 years of experience as a high school social studies teacher and team lead. Mr. Bloomberg was also part of his district's Aspiring Assistant Principals Academy during the 24-25 school year and had opportunities to serve as a leader on his campus. He holds a bachelor's degree in history from the University of Houston and a master's degree in administration from Lamar University. Please join me one more time in welcoming Mr. Matthew Bloomberg. Did you bring any guests, Matthew, you'd like to introduce?
Yeah, I brought my wife, Andrea. My dad, Jacob. And some people from my former campus.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
He was
I've never seen him grin so much.
like proud dad.
There you go. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Yes, welcome. Welcome all of you.
Welcome all of you. Mr. President, we are proud to report that LaPorte ISD has experienced another successful year. You have my superintendent's report, and I shall not read that. But in fulfilling, we had a wonderful and fulfilling year. Our achievements would not be possible without the unwavering support of both the Board of Trustees and the LaPorte community. Thanks to your commitment to strong governance and sound policies, our students and families continue to thrive as we deliver a high-quality education to the more than 7,100 students in our district. As we celebrate this progress, we also want to take a moment to honor and extend a heartfelt appreciation to Miss Jennifer Green. This is her last board meeting, so let's give it up for Jennifer Green, who's retiring. We also would like to honor, in maybe her absence, Miss Marilyn Newman, who's also retiring. Let's give it up for Marilyn. And we'd also like to honor and recognize who has just given us her letter of retirement, Miss Jancy Alfaro. Jancy. These ladies' contributions to LaPorte ISD have been truly impactful, and we wish them all the best in their well-earned retirements. They will always be a part of the LaPorte family, and we certainly hope that you'll stop by to see us sometimes. To highlight some of the wonderful moments and milestones from this school year, we'd like to share a brief video that captures the spirit and success of LaPorte ISD, and it's very brief, board. And thank you again for your continued support and dedication. As I conclude with my superintendent's remarks, at the conclusion of this video, we will have Dr. Barbie Martinez come and share some information with the board about, you can start it over, Adam, if you can.
Sorry.
It's moving fast. Yeah.
All right.
That's all the rage these days. All the kids are doing.
Yeah, can y'all slow it down for us old timers? All right.
Ready?
Ready.
Sorry about that.
Hit it out.
I got
Start it over one more time, Brad, for the people in the back.
I have one job. I'm sorry.
Brad.
I know, I'm on the right thing. Should just go to full screen. Yeah. There we go. All right. So, good evening, everyone. Trustees, Dr. Jackson, our newly elected officers. So the last time that I was here before you guys, we were just approving the GMP number 1, which was to begin our high school renovations and additions over there. So right after that meeting, that next day, we had our notice to proceed, and so we started that permitting process. And so just a reminder, the schedule, this slide was shared with you all last time. But just a reminder, the construction start May 2025. That's where a lot of the permitting, a lot of the surveying and things of that nature. And so we're now in this middle portion right here in the bottom, where you've seen the temporary fencing go up, you've seen the demolition starting to happen already at the high school, and so it's moving very quickly, and so we're on schedule at where we should be right now. We're looking at completion of July 2026, and so again, moving very fast, and so just wanted to remind you all of that. So the picture right there on the right, that's actually earlier today. So went out there, and so this is looking out into the commons area to the cafeteria, and so we already have construction and demolition, and so it's moving very quickly, and so just again, this is right where we need to be right now because we're demoing the front. We're going to move for these next couple of weeks. So in our construction meetings, there's typically a three-week look ahead. And so this was from last week, but we're, again, moving right along. So we ought to start seeing the portable buildings coming in next week. I did hear just today the permitting, we're good there. So portable buildings will be here next week. And so, again, our front office folks have already relocated to the CTE area. And then we've got some mobile modulars up top for some additional staff. So, again, just lots happening in a short amount of time on that high school campus, and it's just exciting to kind of see all that start to come together, and again, moving very quickly. So another thing that's kind of on the sadder side was seeing the doghouse come down, and so if you drove by that today, there's not much left. And so this picture was from earlier in the week. But we've got, that space is pretty much, demoed at this point. And the exciting piece is that just you see a clear view of the stadium from Fairmont. And then you also see the marquee, the board that's on the exterior there, and just the additional parking that creates for the stadium in that junior lot. So it's really, it's going to be nice when all that comes together. It's going to be a very open look, but we know that parking lot's going to be packed, as it has been at all of our milestone events that we've held out there so far. And then right when you get to the top two pictures right there, so that's kind of the newer phase. That's pictures of the new field house. And so we've got our projectors that are going in there already. We've got our white marker boards that are going up. And so again, those spaces are ready, and they're getting closer to be occupied here very soon. And in the bottom left, we've got the weight room, so the equipment's starting to come in. We have a lot of that's already set up and ready to go. It just looks great in there. And then up top in the Legacy Complex, that's some of the partition doors already installed. And so we are looking at a move-in date of July 18th should be our completion date. And so, we're crossing fingers there, but that's a date that's been communicated with me, and that we've been,
we're moving in. They just may
our
not let me
timelines have been going with that.
Yeah, we're moving in.
But again, beautiful facility. It looks great, and so we'll get to that punch list and completing all those items. So exciting.
Bobby, let me say to the board one more time. If and whenever you'd like to see this as it's coming together like this at the Legacy Complex as well, just give me a holler and shoot us a text or something, and we'll be happy to kind of let you see. I mean, what's happening right now. Like the field house is already coming together.
A board discussion and naming process for that building?
If that's what the board's decision is, absolutely. We've stayed away from center, because we didn't want two different All right, so we just called it Legacy Complex because that's at least it has something that we can identify with, and it's not ER or RE. No, not at all.
But we need to get on that if we're going to move in it for a while.
Well, if you'd like to do that, I kind of like Legacy Complex, but I mean, it's the board's decision. Yeah, it's the board's decision. It's a board decision, not the superintendent's decision.
I have two questions
Yes.
real quick before we move on to Lomax. Since the temporary fencing is up, where the bus routes going to be for the parking lot? Bus drive-through is what I mean.
For the high school campus, or you still have access to the back, right? And then we will still have some access in the front.
Okay.
But I think all the buses now come behind the administration building.
Yes.
They don't come to the front.
Right now. Yeah, they all stack up behind there.
They stack up right
And
there.
at
It's mostly
227,
behind.
if you're not moved by 227,
You're
you're
here
locked
for the
in.
next
I thought
hour.
they had some and some, so I just missed
Oh,
time to
maybe
see
not.
it.
I do have some of the
Yeah.
other buses
Yes.
that come
Yeah,
to the
it's-
front of the building,
Well, 'cause
right?
they got
Lead buses.
Flood Academy drops off at the front and things like that.
But most of
There's
your
like
after-school routes and your early drop-off, that'll all be still in the back of the building.
My other question is, did y'all leave any of that commons area up for us to be able to come over there with sledgehammers and, because it's been a bane of our existence for a while, so. And even those of us who went to school there during the time, it
It's
was
the only
flooding
thing
during that time.
It's the only thing left from when I was a student at that high school. And
Was
Russell
it
was
flooding
there with
then
me,
too?
just so you know.
I'm not by myself.
Was it raining in the school on you then too? Was water coming in? Because water has always been
That water didn't even start really coming in until right after I don't know, that was new.
Yeah.
When they drained everything into that square.
I'm just grateful we're fixing that problem.
Okay.
And so I was like, man.
Well, I will say that Dr. Griffin and I, and he's here, we had the pleasure of going back there today to retrieve some radios that were left, and I would not recommend folks going in that area right now. So, but we can set up something for you.
Could you refresh our memory as to how many parking spots we're going to gain on the junior lot? And do you know how many of those are handicapped and how many of those are normal parking spots?
I have that in my office.
Okay.
And I know I've gotten the number at one point. We are going to gain a significant amount of parking than what we had previously.
We will certainly commit to many of them being.
Yeah, so what's designated as handicap, we're going to come back in and add some additional
Okay,
on
good.
the maintenance
We
side.
realize that's an issue.
For those
This
two
probably is not even
entrances.
board meeting thing, but
It's a lot, we have a parade in July, we always do it in your parking lot. Are we messing with the senior parking lot at all? That should be the senior parking lot.
Now, you want that, as far as access to the senior lot?
Well, it's all we're saying.
Yeah. Okay, and it's open now. Yeah. So just until that phase is complete, but it will be up. We will probably start the school year with that up. But, so we're going to gain some additional parking as the work continues. So right now, there's not a lot of access, but as they feel comfortable releasing portions to us, they're going to move the fences back. And so that's a conversation we had with them, pretty soon after we saw that come up, because we had that same concern. All right. And then Lomax Junior High, so this is, again, some of the fun stuff. You've got the graphics on the floor. We're, determining the lines for volleyball and just how you have the goals set up and the center graphics. And then we've got the competition gym. You're starting to see some of the CMU, that's the concrete masonry unit coming up along the sides, which is, again, a lot happening in that area. And then now that school's over, they're able to get into the old competition gym and start transforming that space. And so you've got some new flooring that'll start going in there. And then just to the bottom right, that's just that temporary ventilation so that they can get in there and do the work. So. There's nothing that has been communicated of major concern related to termites. So.
I just want to put this opportunity one more time and say, at any time, if the board or any member of the board would like to for any of these things, please reach out to Bobby or I. We'd be more than happy to have this call. Because the Lomax gym is kind of like building the Titanic and nobody knows that you're building one, right? Because it's behind the building, right? And so I'd love for you, if you'd like to come take a look at it, when you see over there, give you a hard hat and we'll go.
Yeah, that really is an exciting project out there at Lomax Junior High. And it is, kind of like you pull around the back and all of a sudden you see this humongous structure. And so, and then along with that, maintenance, just hard at work summer projects. And, that's a busy time of year for our maintenance folks. And so just from painting to restriping of parking lots to just kind of getting all those work orders completed that they weren't able to get to during the school year. Just really thankful for those guys. You guys saw that on display at graduation, right? Just all the hands that went into that. So really thankful for all the men and women in our auxiliary departments, and it's an honor to serve them. So thank you guys. Any other questions?
We don't put them down from 595. We would have.
All right, you got it. We'll get on it. All right, thank you.
April has presentations and she has 3 presentations, and I told her she could go in the order she needed to.
If that's okay with everybody, I would like to start with, and I promise to be brief. When you say it like I've got 3 presentations, it sounds like we're going to be here all night. I promise that's not the case. I do want to start with just updating the board on academics real quick and share some great news about what we're seeing and talk a little bit about that. There's a microphone, I apologize. Okay, so just a real quick update on academics at this time. We do have much to celebrate. I do want to preface this by saying that we do not have all of our official scores in just yet. So in front of you, you will see the preliminary scores for 3 through 8 tested subjects, and that June 16th is when we will have those public scores. You know, they're still shaking some things out of the tree. So when we have those scores on the 16th, they'll be made available to families, and we'll have more access to public data. So for now, we're going to have it confidential in front of you for that. But I do have EOC scores to share with you, and we'll be able to talk about some celebrations with that. So this is our testing data for STAR EOCs in the high school. You can see that we are continuing to do well in terms of our comparison to the state. And you'll see in bold some areas where we are exceeding the state and doing really well. And this, I want you to know, includes all of our testers for these high school subjects, so that includes all of our retesters. So the second slide, and you'll see that we are doing very well. We're gaining ground, and we're making some great strides and seeing some comparison there. Algebra 1 is really doing well. We're seeing 33% masters in Algebra 1, and that includes our retesters. So you'll see...
That's a huge improvement.
It's a huge improvement.
Congratulations to those teachers and kids, but man,
they have worked very, very hard.
Yes, they have.
And even biology has seen a nice increase this year as well. So really some great things happening with our EOC scores. The next slide I wanted you to see, this is our first-time testers. So this is evidence of that Tier 1 instruction for those first-time testers, and takes out those retesters, which can sometimes give us a unique view on those scores. Again, kids are doing very, very well. This is evidence of great Tier 1 instruction happening. Certainly there are some areas that we are going to pay attention to and continue to pay attention to, but just really seeing some gains that we're really excited about there. Some other celebrations that I wanted to highlight with some of our special populations and their performance on EOCs. We always talk about closing the gaps and who are historically lower performing groups, and so there's some great things that I want to celebrate with Algebra 1. Our emergent bilingual students, you'll see that they have increased their performance from 24 to 25. We're at 10% meets gains and 6% gain on their master's performance for the EB students. And then those EB students continue to outperform the state by over 20%. So you can see those scores there. Special education, lots of things to celebrate, and I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but I'm thinking early data is suggesting that this is a trend, but we'll see. But for our EOCs, we are seeing that our special education students in algebra increase their performance by 5% at the meets level, which is really great for special education students, and we continue to outperform the state by 26%. So that's really great news for our algebra performance there. Biology, more celebrations for our EB students, outperforming the state by 4%, seeing that we are by 13% of approaches. And then for special education students in biology, again, 21% gain in approaches from 24 to 25. So some really great things happening in Tier 1 instruction for our special education students. Big gains. As I mentioned, the STAR 3.8 scores are preliminary. You have those in front of you for your review, and when we have those data points in after the 16th, we'll send some updates to you and let you know how we're doing there. One of the things that's new this year for us is we've been really intentional about looking at rescore. There's been a lot of conversation about the writing and how it's been scored with AI. We have the opportunity to rescore our assessments, and so we got real strategic with that this year, taking a look at essays and had some very strict criteria about who we were going to maybe select for rescoring.
We looked at score points. Were they odd? Were there, a discrepancy in how many points they were from approaches? Who could gain the most from having a rescore opportunity? Was there a big gap maybe from their last year's essay performance to this year's performance? And so we did all of that data criteria. We culled the studio audience, if you will, and we came up with a number of students that we felt could potentially have a rescore. And we did some internal review, read those essays internally. We had 11 students that we just submitted for rescore. So we'll see how that fares for us, but we felt that was pretty good. Again, we want to make sure that anybody we submit for rescore, that there's going to be a potential benefit of merit for those students. So it costs us $50 per student if we do not see a score change. So we want to be very strategic about who we do. So we're hopeful that we'll see some changes there for some students, and that could make a difference for some kids at the EOC level. We'll do the same thing for 3 through 8 when we get those. That rescore window is between the 12th and the 18th, and we're looking at those essays now.
Last year was the first time we heard that you could possibly do this. We kind of looked behind that they really took this whole thing and put a system how we could do this. We don't want any kid that artificial intelligence did not give their fair due. And so it's worth us spending $50 to ask for
it is. Especially when we think about the odd scores, that means that 2 scores didn't agree, right? So like 1 set of 3, 1 set of 2, 1 set of 5, 1 set of 4. So when you have an odd score that says the 2 scores didn't agree, there may be more likelihood of a rescore bringing that student up. So, but special thanks to Angie and her team for their work and efforts on this. And Jennifer Green too, providing guidance on how we can do this. I'm hopeful that this is going to yield some fruit for our students. Absolutely. So based on this data, the things that we're working on for the fall, they really don't change much. We really continue to work on the great things of Tier 1 instruction. Some new things for us as we move into the fall, really looking at our common learning framework and really getting very, very clear on what a great classroom looks like with a portrait of a classroom, if you will. Working on RBs and instructional strategies from the state with TEA and honing in our PLC data conversations and planning. We are doing a lot of professional development with instructional coaching. We're continuing that work and broadening that to our assistant principals and interventionists on the campuses and providing them that coaching training. So we're going to be working on that this next year. Really getting systematic and strategic with our intervention systems, making sure that any interventions that we have are really yielding fruit for us. Looking at our math instructional materials next year is an adoption cycle for us for math, so I think that will be good. There's a lot of conversation about, I'm sure you've heard about Bluebonnet materials and different things, and so there's a new way of looking at instructional materials, and we're going to dive into that with math this next year. And then really, our campuses have done a great job, our principals have done a great job of really looking at their master schedules and how can we maximize how we schedule students, how we schedule teachers, how we organize the day to maximize instruction and maximize intervention support, how we set up a class of students, how can we really make sure that there's a good combination of students. So they've been working really, really hard to make some great decisions with those master schedules, as you know. Critical mass needs to be at the top, not anywhere else. And then, of course, the work that we are going to be doing in our early literacy with moving to structured literacy as part of the grant with TXRL is going to be a big focus for next year. So lots of great work in place already. We're just continuing that great work and some good new things coming in the fall. So some things to think about. June 10th, that would be today. Parents have access to the STAR EOC scores through our online portal. June 17th, our 3-8 students will have access, parents will have access to their scores. June 23rd through the 26th, we have our STAR EOC retesting. Students are in school, summer school right now. Summer school is being held at the high school and junior high at Baker due to all the construction and things going on. So they're working hard now to prepare for those retests, and then throughout the summer we'll continue to get updated information from TEA on not only the final scores and how that looks, but then also our accountability ratings. So more to come. Questions?
I'd say it's going to be a tremendous job y'all doing. I think you're what is our level of
So it's going to be important for us to, if you recall last year when we were looking at our scores, I showed you how everywhere in the state of Texas had significant decreases, and so helping us to see contextually how that looks for us is going to be an important piece of information as we determine what we need to look at. But obviously, any time that we see a score decrease of any kind, it causes us some concern. We want to make sure that our students are performing well. So I look forward to receiving more information about our data and how the state has performed, how our neighbors are performing, so that we can really start digging in and figuring out what's going on. Last year, if you recall, there was a pretty significant decrease in a particular subject, and it was across the state. It shocked me when I saw it, but then across the state, it was even worse. So that tells me a different story about how the kids are being tested versus maybe what's being learned in the classroom, and something for us to consider. So more information to come. Okay. All right, quickly, I want to also talk a little bit about the next fun topic, which is behavior management in our schools. I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about some great plans that we have as we move into the fall. We talk a lot about the price of behavior and the concerns that we have about good behavior and how that impacts things in our campuses. But you know that lost instructional or administrative time is a big deal when we think about referrals and so forth, and how much time is lost for administrators. We also talk about the loss of instructional time when we have behavioral issues and we're being pulled, and how that can impact not only the entire class, but also the students who are being pulled. And so there's a real price that students and administrators and campuses pay when there are troubles with behavior. So we want to do everything that we can to make sure that great behavior happens every day, and control the things that we can control. We talk a lot about, and Mr. Wycliffe and Mr. Bromley, Dr. Bromley, have done a great job of really improving and unifying our systems and processes for response when we are thinking about discipline and thinking about consequences. But one of the things that we didn't talk about as much as I would have liked is just the work that we're doing to prevent. What are the things that we're doing to cultivate those positive and productive classrooms? This work was started with Catherine Landry under the guidance and supervision of JNC Alfaro, who is leaving us, unfortunately. But I do want to say that this work has been great work, and we're going to continue this work in the fall. So we all know that there's lots of experts out there about classroom behavior and positive behavior, and there are a lot of buzzwords that go along with it. But what we want to do in LaPorte ISD is take the best of everything that we have to offer and make it our own. You hear about all these different experts about behavior, and they all have really great stuff to offer, but there's no one size fits all sometimes. So what we have created in partnership with Catherine Landry and with Mr. Wycliffe and Ms. Alfaro is the Positive Classroom Playbook. This playbook centers around 6 principles of positive behavior that come from the experts that we know are going to really ensure that classrooms are set up for success for behavior. These 6 principles, principle number 1, maximizing those classroom structures. So how do we organize routines, schedules, and just the classroom organization itself to ensure great behavior. Expectations and rules. How do teachers, what strategies do teachers use to ensure that there are great norms in the classroom, classroom contracts. How do we ensure that there's consistent language, and how do we teach what we expect students to be able to do. Principle 3 is just student engagement with instruction, and so how do we leverage that common learning framework? How do we leverage student agency? How do we leverage the active learning strategies that we all know and love to ensure that students are engaged with the learning? How do we acknowledge appropriate behavior? So it's not just about punishing the students and calling them out for when they're not doing it right, making sure that we're recognizing and acknowledging when they are. So what do those strategies look like for providing praise, celebrating great work, providing parent communication that's positive? And then principle 5, how do we respond to that inappropriate behavior? I think we spend a lot of time talking about this and not as much time maybe talking about those positive pieces of prevention. But also ensuring that teachers have good strategies to respond appropriately to that inappropriate behavior.
And then the last principle, which I believe is the most important principle, it's the idea of building those positive, trusting relationships, which is what weaves through all of the principles of positive behavior. So providing teachers with those strategies on how to do those daily check-ins and those greetings, and being very intentional about it, that building those relationships happens every day, in the recognition that you provide, the way that you provide students' voice, how you restore conversations when behavior has been poor, and just positive interactions that you have with families. This playbook that we are putting together centers around these 6 principles, and it provides teachers with strategies to help them cultivate these 6 principles in their classrooms. The wonderful thing about this playbook is we are going to be providing some opportunities for our administrative team to begin working with this and talking about how this might start looking, how it already is looking on their campuses, and what else we need to do to continue to further this work. So we're excited about really ensuring that these positive principles are put in place on every campus throughout the district. The other thing that we're doing new this next year with the blessing of the board is providing classroom support aides on every campus to help provide, on the elementary campuses, to help provide that work. Another person on the campus to help support, assisting with classroom supervision, reinforcing those expectations, helping with transitions, building relationships, all those great things that will help provide behavior support. We know that prevention is where we really need to focus our efforts this next year to ensure that we're all speaking the same language. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning, the response piece is something that we worked really hard on the last few years, and we've really gotten really good at what that looks like. We've really unified our understandings about these continuums of supports or responses, and what is a less intensive response, most intensive response. So this is something that our assistant principals and our teachers are working on already. We've worked on this quick disciplinary reference sheet for both the secondary and the elementary to unify discipline and behavior. So this work is of Mr. Wycliffe and Dr. Bromley before Dr. Martinez is in place already, and we're going to continue to build on that. So the next steps with the behavior work that we have, we're hoping that we can, with your approval, start beginning to staff those new positions and get those positions trained. We're going to continue this over the summer, the professional learning, to ensure that we all have, as leaders, the common understandings of what we expect to be happening in our classrooms. Continue some work with Portrait of a Classroom, so that we can understand what that looks like and unify those understandings, and implementation, coaching, and monitoring as we go. One more thing that we are doing, we're implementing Skyward this year, and there are some modules and some features within Skyward that are going to help us be able to track some behaviors in a different way and help us have some real-time information shared across the campuses in the district to help us understand what students are doing and monitor. So I think we're excited about some of those pieces. So some good stuff that we're working on. We've got a lot of work to do to continue this work this summer, and we look forward to really seeing it move into action in the fall in the classrooms.
We don't spend as much time on campuses as I'm speaking for the board, as we all wish we could. But there has been a drastic change, and just when we do come on campus, of student behavior and watching the teachers engage with the students. And the perfect example was with Miss Greenwood the other day at the Baker talent show. There were plenty of opportunities, little lulls in the show where students could have gotten loud and chatty amongst themselves. They remained focused. Now, she did threaten them a little bit at the beginning, but it wasn't anything too major. But you could see the students respected the people who were on stage. They respected their peers. They respected the program. And it was really enlightening. I left with some of the people that I was walking out with, and they said, "Can you believe how great 6th graders are during this talent show?" I said, "No, I can't, because I was at the high school 2 years ago for a Veterans Day program and almost lost my mind with kids talking and screaming." And so it's just really refreshing. But you can see it on multiple campuses. And so kudos to the administration team, but also kudos to the teachers in their classrooms for taking that extra step with the students. And I can say that we appreciate it, and I know the students appreciate it too.
I completely agree. I said it was in your face noticeable at the graduation ceremonies, both campuses, and it was, you can tell when it's genuine and it's heartfelt and it's just, that's who they are. It's not a show. When just a handshake and eye contact, there was genuine, and I know it sounds so trivial, but seriously, just a couple of years ago, that was not the case. And there was anxiety and there was a sense of, okay, but you could feel it. You can feel it when you go on these campuses. You can see a change in behavior. So whatever, that we're putting into place, whatever, it's paying dividends. So we appreciate it.
We're excited about this playbook. I think that, having some very specific strategies that if you're in doubt, that you can go to even reinforce your practices in the classroom, I think will be really great practice.
So, Julie, just quickly, I think this is wonderful. I know that one of the things that I think is super important for teachers is to understand, the Capturing Kids' Hearts and Ruby Payne, and then the trauma training that Upshaw used to do. A lot of our teachers have not been exposed to that, and it really does sometimes tell you why that kid is acting like that kid is acting. And I know when I did Ruby Payne, my eyes were really open to some of the things that you don't even think about as an educator. And trauma, the workshop that Upshaw gave on trauma, is really eye-opening when you consider that I think, sometimes stereotype what a kid's going to look like that has trauma, and we know that's absolutely not true. Mm-hmm. And I would say this, if you're going to have 6 steps, I really think the one about developing relationships should be in the front. Because until you develop those relationships, trying to get your classroom under control, trying to get them to buy into your schedule, especially the older kids, and to write those rules, they're not going to do that until they know they can trust you to do that with them. And so, but I think this is wonderful. And there will be an intensive training on this for the teachers. Yes. Because some teachers will be really good at this, and some you're going to have to drag across the finish line because it's outside their comfort zone, some of it. They just have to learn how to, not everybody's like Coach Mac.
It's funny you said that, because I was going to acknowledge him. He's sitting over there, and that has probably been the biggest swing, obviously, on campus behavior. Not knocking anybody, but there's somebody that prioritizes relationships and seeing the students, and it's just evident, and it fixes so many things. We always look to try to remedy a symptom instead of going to the cause, and if you will invest in relationships, it transcends your campus, and that is what you see. So kudos to you, and I appreciate your efforts, and I know the kids do, the parents do. But you are seeing it everywhere, and it's awesome. And I'm glad y'all are taking.
And I want to say the high school is, I go there to sell tickets for homecoming and prom and all of that, and I have to give kudos to Dr. Griffin, because I walked in there this year. I was like, "Are your kids here?" I mean, it was like everybody was it was very. I mean, even if something happened, they got it under control very quickly, and all the other kids just kind of scattered. It was nothing like it has been. So. That was exciting to see as well. So.
I also want to point out, everything that's listed out there, everything, each principal and everything like that, a lot of these things are things that when you put into the routine that at school, they'll naturally come up on, even though someone else may not be setting that up for them. Some of them are naturally going to go into this, and just because they like the source of it, but even if there is an opportunity to merge this, or the two of those are just both, it's pretty useful in the classroom, and if you can mimic it, I think that it's going to be a great tool for a lot of people.
Well, special thanks to your support, and to Mr. Wycliffe and Ms. Alfaro for all their hard work in getting this lifted and started in our classrooms. It's an easy baton to continue to carry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I am now going to turn it over to Angie Viator and Meredith Halbadier to talk about our grant and the exciting work that we're doing with Texas Leads.
Thank you, Julie. All right. Good evening, Board of Trustees and Dr. Jackson. We're very excited to be sharing an update with you about the Texas Leads, or the TXRL initiative that we have going. I just want to introduce formally, and I know you know her, joining me tonight is Meredith Halbadier, and she serves as an exceptional reading language arts specialist to our elementary campuses and to our teachers. She wears many hats, and one of them is coaching, mentoring. She's a wonderful colleague too, and she's just this fearless leader that has been leading leading us through this work, and just want to honor her as a part of this, and we're just really excited to share tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to her at this time.
Thank you, Angie. Good evening. Thank you for having me this evening. I'm here to talk to you about the Texas Reads, Texas Leads Grant Initiative. And so today I'd like to give you a little bit of history of why we are shifting our reading practices here in Texas and how LaPorte ISD is following the suit with the expectations. I'm going to give you some information about the Texas Reads, Texas Leads Grant, supporting how we're going to support our accelerated transition, and then what's next and how you can support us as a team as well. So back in 2019, the Texas Senate passed the House Bill 3 during the 86th Texas legislative session. And this mandated that we need to have a renewed focus on early literacy and our reading outcomes, because we were not meeting the reading outcomes as a state that we would expect to be having for our students. So this required all kindergarten through third grade teachers and principals to come to the reading academies that were grounded in the science of teaching reading practices, or you'll hear it referred to as STR practices as well. So in the year 2020, we launched the Texas Reading Academies, which was based on decades of reading research, including the National Reading Panel findings. And it was designed to build educator knowledge and phonemic awareness, phonics, fluence, vocabulary, and comprehension. And it's connected teacher practice to evidence-based strategies for improving reading achievement. So why did we need to do this? The data showed that too few students were reading on grade level by the end of third grade. We were sending about, in the state of Texas, we were sending about 40% of our students not reading on grade level. And if they're not reading on grade level by the end of third grade, they will never be able to catch back up. And the gaps just continue to compound. So balanced literacy practices were what was really prevalent in the state of Texas in our K-3 classrooms, and balanced literacy practices lack explicit systematic instruction and foundational skills. And the science of teaching reading ensures instruction is aligned with how the brain learns to read. So here in LaPorte ISD, we were using our balanced literacy practices. And the problem with balanced literacy practices is that it's an overemphasis on strategies like guessing from pictures or from lack of the context. And it lacked systematic explicit phonics and decoding instruction. And it was very heavily dependent upon teacher-created materials that did not align to what the research says is best for how our students learn to read.
Much of that instruction, as you all know, when we talk about guided reading books and leveled books, it was not on grade level, and I know you're going to talk some on that, but we just think about we want to be exposing children as much as possible to on grade level materials while scaffolding students who are not reading at that level. But that's a big main piece. And when she talked about students not being on grade level, sometimes we go, we do really well here in LaPorte, but when we think about that meets level versus the approaches, we really, when you hone in on that for this district as well as all districts in Texas, and that's kind of what we're seeing is that gap, and that's just really why we looked at this shift as something that we needed to make.
So what the science of teaching reading tells us is that reading requires mastery in both word recognition and the language comprehension. It also aligns with decades of cognitive science on how the children learn to read and about how our pathways are interconnected in our brains. STR practices are now the state expectation for teaching students to read in kindergarten through third grade. And this is very urgent because the gaps in foundational skills are appearing early and they will compound over time. And this is a big reason why we're having lots of our students qualify for SPED and dyslexia at very high rates that truly may not have that dyslexic tendencies. They just didn't have the foundational skills in phonics and phonemic awareness instruction that is needed. So our state assessments and screeners such as MAP, Texas KIA that is done in kindergarten, or our STAR assessments are showing inconsistent progress across the state of how our students are meeting grade level standards.
I want to tell you, just reiterating every time, we take this to heart in LaPorte ISD, and it's something we really are truly invested in. We're ahead of a lot of districts in this area when we go to conferences and we talk with our colleagues. This is something that we really, and Meredith with her lead, just have really looked at for this, for our students, and just making sure that we're on top of this, and also you'll see about training teachers and things. I just want to make sure we knew that part.
So the Texas Reads, Texas Leads grant came across our desk, and it's supported by the Moody Foundation and the Charles Vett Foundation. Their purpose provides funding and training and planning resources to help districts move away from outdated instructional practices such as balanced literacy, and helps move us towards structured literacy practices that aligns with that science of teaching reading resources. And it also supports, with TXRL, it supports districts in using and utilizing their high quality instructional materials, or their HQIM, to the best ability to align with what research tells us is best practice in teaching our students to read. And in October, we were selected as one of the 16 districts in the state to participate in different learning sessions and planning sessions with to help build and support our commitment to early literacy, because our students deserve instruction rooted in how the brain learns to read. So over the past 8 months, we've been working on building systems to implement our STR practices with fidelity across all kinder through third grade classrooms starting in the 25-26 school year. So what that looked like was aligning the use of the HQIM that we've already adopted and have been using by the district. We're going to streamline that use and make sure that we have a very tight approach to how those materials are working. We've created district and campus early literacy committees. We're reworking the literacy block. We're providing professional development sessions to support our educator training. We've also been provided feedback from TXRL along our journey to help us grow and learn, and they're helping us stay student-centered while aligning with the research. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
On number 4, professional development sessions, will those be required for all our kindergarten through third grade teachers? Or will that be an option, like when they go to the report meeting the next time?
Right now, during the summer, it is optional. It does fall into their 12 hours of exchange time that they can use. And I'm actually doing a session tomorrow morning for them and next week. So they are not required to attend it during the summer, but I'll also be video recording the sessions that I'm doing this summer to send out to the masses that aren't able to make it because they're teaching summer school or out of town. And then there will be shorter sessions that are much more condensed during our back to school curriculum day, and we've got lots of professional development plans that I'd be happy to share with you for the fall as well. So LaPorte Elementary in the spring of 2025 piloted these practices. They were very excited to jump on board, and the teachers were able to transition their reading group practices to skills and strategy-based groupings. The teachers that did make this shift reported a decrease in their planning loads, which made them much happier, and they found it simpler to implement than the traditional guided reading groups that we had used in practice, and that was in contribution with using our high-quality instructional materials, which was iStation and HMH. And iStation will be changing to Amira in the fall. They were bought out, and so we will still have access to those very important, easy to use resources that are connected directly to what the gaps are that the students need. And the teachers also saw an increase in their overall decoding and reading skill abilities across kindergarten through second grade in those classrooms that piloted it. In May, we were very excited. After lots and lots of learning, LaPorte ISD was chosen as one of the top 8 districts in the state of Texas to receive that funding. Yes, it's very exciting. So what does this this mean for LaPorte ISD? We've been awarded a $250,000 grant that will be divided up across the 25-26 school year and the 26-27 school year. So the District Early Literacy Committee had to build a grant proposal around the following items: how to support instructional materials to support our new systems for each classroom that will be equitable across all 75 K2 classrooms, and it'll 20 to 25, yes ma'am it is, and then there's 20 to 25 third grade classrooms as well that we are going to be providing easel boards, whiteboards, magnetic letters, materials that each teacher in every classroom should have equitable access to. We're also going to be providing them with professional learning opportunities for educators and the administrators, because we have to educate the administrators just like we would our educators, to make sure that we can build their understanding as well. That will be to help support our Amira learning platform, as well as our iStation platform for our bilingual teachers, as well as how to use and implement our HMH high quality instructional materials. And it will also be helping support our leadership team as we are making our decisions and building our systems in place. So looking ahead, what does this mean for us? We have full implementation of our HQIM HMH into reading and using Ariba with Fidelity. We have an expansion of coaching, data reflection, and research-aligned literacy practices in all kindergarten through third grade classrooms. We will get the honor of being able to have a showcase visit in the spring of 2026. I think our date is in January. That we will host other districts that are part of the TXRL cohort, as well as members of the Board of Trustees, to walk classrooms and see these transitions of the science of teaching reading practices as well. We are very excited to be able to be a showcase district for this, and we invite you to come join us anytime. Yes. So how you can help, we need you to celebrate this incredible progress of our teachers. We are changing a lot of philosophies that are deep rooted, very embedded on how we teach reading. Guilty as charged. This is going to take a lot. So we're going to need to hug our teachers and buy them some tissues and support them, because change is hard. But every child deserves to learn to read. And we promote the STR aligned vision in our community with our families and our stakeholders, because they are our partners in our work. So if you'd like any more information, please reach out to one of the District Early Literacy Committee members, myself and Julie Abram, Dr. Alicia Upchurch, Linda Hyde, Angie Viator, Karen Lawley, and then my partner Haley Miller, and interventionist Julie Spears over at LaPorte Elementary. So thank you for this opportunity. What questions may I answer for you?
I want to comment first is I love when you get to speak and your passion gets to come out and you see it, and it's infectious and it's awesome, and it's because of that we're even eligible for grants like that. So thank you.
100%.
And second, I just want this grant to buy us some time. If we've got 2 years of funding, we need to start putting things into place so we can fund it afterwards.
Absolutely.
So what do we need to do? What do you need from this board to continue these programs so they don't die at the expiration of the grant?
Yes.
So while we've got 2 years, let's really kind of collaborate, and it's not too early.
Yes, sir.
Let's start putting pen to
Absolutely.
paper and find some things. And I think it's not a coincidence that you're a showcase district. Again, it's infectious. And I know Dr. Jackson has been a pillar of his with kids reading by the time they're in third grade. We have to get them there.
Absolutely.
We have to. And that's got to be, the line in the sand. We cannot compromise when it comes to that. And we've got to throw everything at that issue to see that these kids are reading by third grade. And if these are the means and the resources to do it, then we need to invest heavily in it and just continue to pour into this. So this board will support you, I have no doubt. And I just want to challenge all of you to look so we can continue this when the expiration of that grant goes.
Absolutely.
Kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I just want to comment that change is hard for people. You're correct about that.
Yes.
But I think we have the right leader in place to lead that change. And so I'm very happy to see you in this charge with your passion on literacy. And when I look at the names that are on this list for that committee, I have no doubt that it's going to be wildly successful. So thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
How, you know, even tonight, like how this, we don't get a lot of favors from the state or, you know, our funding, and it's always just a beating our head against the wall. And so nothing makes me more happy like to hear about when our staff goes above and beyond outside of the box to get these grants, because man, it's a game changer for everybody concerned. So again, I know I don't write grants because I'm not smart enough, but I know the Education Foundation, different things we've been a part of, how difficult it is to go out and get these kind of grants. So thank you. So I can only imagine the amount of hours and the work that actually went into that. So thank y'all sincerely for putting that effort in and making it happen.
It's awesome. And I'm really encouraged to hear that we're looking at these interventions so that we really can take these kids forward in reading without providing services for them. Because, you know, once a kiddo qualifies for special ed, it is really hard for them to not qualify anymore. And so I think that sometimes in an effort to serve our students, we almost do a disservice to them. And so I like that this is really focusing on some of the things I saw as a diagnostician. They didn't have the phonetic background, and they don't have the vocabulary and the language. And so this I think will be a real game changer.
Thank you.
Yes, real shame making your son sit up here.
He's being supportive.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thanks, Meredith.
I was wondering why you got stuck up here. I was like, oh,
yes.
That is awesome. All right, board, we're going to move on to item 10, our consent agenda. The board will now proceed with our consent agenda. Unless removed from the consent agenda, items identified within the consent agenda will be acted on at one time. You've got it? Okay. All right, consent agenda. A, determine and approve any consent agenda items. B, approve board meeting minutes. 1, regular board meeting minutes, May 13th, 2025. 2, board workshop meeting minutes, May 27th, 2025. C, receive principals reports. 1, Early Childhood Center. 2, Bayshore Elementary. 3, College Park Elementary. 4, Heritage Elementary. 5, Jenny Reed Elementary. 6, LaPorte Elementary. 7, Rizzuto Elementary. 8, Lomax Elementary. 9, Baker 6th grade campus. 10, LaPorte Junior High. 11, Lomax Junior High. 12, LaPorte High School. 13, DeWalt High School. D, receive financial reports, April 2025. E, receive human resources report. F, notice of employment of professional staff. G, approve 2025-2026 compensation plan.
Can we pull that, please?
Really, Dan?
Yes.
H, approve 2025-2026 interlocal agreement with Harris County for community youth services. I, approve 2025-2026 purchase and/or encumbrances over $50,000. J, approve budget amendment. K, approve beginning a new 3-year plan, year 1 for workers' compensation coverage. L, approve designee other than the superintendent to accept resignations for contract employees at any time. M, approve memorandum of understanding for juvenile justice alternative education program, JJAEP. N, approve partnership agreement for communities in school model traditional programs. O, approve purchase of replacement chillers at Rizzuto Elementary. P, approve purchase of servers and related components. Q, approve purchase of student laptops and desktops. R, approve proposal of supplemental food and catering services. S, approve regular board meeting schedule for first semester of 2025-2026 school year. T, approve resale of tax foreclosure property described as undivided 25% interest in lots 14 and 15, block 29 of Beach Park, a subdivision in Harris County, Texas, as shown on map or plat thereof recorded in volume 67, page 148 of deed records of Harris County, Texas, account number 007-001-000-0030.
Pull. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
You have to read them off. We're going to pull them.
It's okay. It's okay. U, approve resale of tax foreclosure property described as an undivided 7.5% interest in lots 14 and 15, block 29 of Beach Park and subdivision in Harris County, Texas, as shown on map or plat thereof, recorded in volume 67, page 148 of the deed records of Harris County, Texas, account number 007-001-000-0035.
Pull that.
I'm glad you're
Yeah. V, approve resale of tax foreclosure property described as an undivided 2.5% interest in lots 14 and 15, block 29 of Beach Park and subdivision in Harris County, Texas, as shown in map or plat thereof, recorded in volume 67, page 148 of the deed records of Harris County, Texas, account number 007-001-000-0036.
Pull.
Of course. W, receipt and first recording of TASB Local Policy Update 125 affecting local policies BDAA, BDB, BDF, EI, FDE, FEC, and FFAC. X, receive public notice of intent to apply for federal funds allocated to the Porte ISD for school year 2025-2026. Y, adopt a resolution number 2025-06 for annual review of investment policy, investment strategies, resolution number 2025-07 for investment officer and list of authorized broker dealers. Z, adopt a resolution number 2025-08 for annual review and approval of district's investment training provider.
Yep.
All right. So, Vice President Harris, will you please read back our consent agenda?
Yes. A, B, C, D, E, F, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, W, X, Y, Z.
All right, I seek a motion to approve our consent agenda.
So moved.
Second, by Ms. Crutcher, call for a vote. All right, it is unanimous. Thank you, Board. Now we'll go to our first full item, G.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I think the board is excited about the minimum salary increase for the future, and knowing that that will be rolled up into anyone else that maybe got a year or two under their belt. I wanted to make sure that on our stipend list, does this already reflect the 5% increase?
Yes, that was the stapled addendum.
That's this?
You have in the front packet of your book because we made that change after the timing of the signing of House Bill 2, and so we wanted to provide you with that.
Okay, so this is the 5%
Yes.
increase.
Yes.
Okay, so that's all I needed. I just want clarification of it.
And as the other point of order was addressed earlier, you feel comfortable to comment? Okay.
Good deal. All right, I seek a motion to approve G.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Jeff, let's call for a vote. It is unanimous. Thank you, Board. We'll now go on to item T. Mason?
I don't have anything on it. I just want to vote separately.
Okay. I seek a motion.
Wait a minute. I would like, we still make the motion, and if we don't want it to do, we just vote no, correct? Okay.
Clarify that again. Say it again.
I think we make a motion to table.
Do we make a I don't want to table.
He wants
to deny
to
it.
take a vote on the item separate.
Oh, okay, he just wants to separate that. Okay.
So we still just make the normal motion?
You can move and vote no if that's what you're planning to do. But is it all three or is it just one? You do all three, huh?
Can we do all three at the same time?
No, not even four.
Well, we had to do that anyway. So do we make a motion and then vote no?
That's probably the...
Okay. I make
We're
a...
consistent with how you normally do.
Okay. Mason?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Call for the vote. Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
So much for a team of 8, huh?
Whatever. Wow.
First defiance.
Okay. I fixed it.
You as an umbrella.
You? Item 2. You?
You. I have nothing. I just want to vote on it separately.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Mason, call for the vote. Unanimous. And the last item, V.
I have nothing. I just want to vote on it separately. So moved.
Second. Call for the vote. All right, board. Thank you. So, as my predecessor did to me, I would like to get out of his chair and have our new president finish our agenda out. So we'll switch real quick.
Woo! All right. So we have one more thing on here, a couple more things, excuse me. Item 11, we've already addressed. Item A, we will go to B. Delegate contractual authority to obligate the school district under Texas Education Code TEC 11.1511C4 to the superintendent solely for the purpose of obligating the district under TEC 48.257 and TEC Chapter 49, subchapters A and D, and the rules adopted by the Commissioner of Education as authorized under TEC 49.006. This includes approval of the agreement for the purchase of attendance credit or the agreement for the purchase of attendance credit, netting Chapter 48 funding. I seek a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor, please vote. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Item C, and I need some help on this one. Consider endorsing a nominee for TASB Board of Directors, Region 4, positions C, E, and F. Do we have a...
Do we have to recommend somebody?
We don't have to.
You don't have to.
We don't
I don't
have
know
to.
anything about these candidates, so, I mean, if
I don't know anything about them either. The three that were on our sheet, are they running for the different posts? Does anyone know? Or are they all three running for one post?
yeah, I
If they're all three running for one, I would recommend that we support Pearland just because of proximity to us.
yeah, I don't,
you know.
I don't have any
I don't know
further
that that's
information. and I
South Fair has
apologize.
such a large,
Yeah.
I think we're more relatable to.
There's one candidate per position.
Okay. So
Okay, then we don't need to do
no,
that.
so we don't have to take any action.
So we can thank
If we
them
vote
for
for
their
them and they're
service.
bad, we're going to be in trouble.
Yes.
Okay, so no action is needed on item 11B, or excuse me, item 11C. I'll move to item 12, action on closed session items. We do not have any closed session items to discuss. Item 13, closing comments for the Board of Trustees and Superintendent. Attendance, speaking on A, attendance at recent district and community events. B, announcement of upcoming district and community events. Or C, outstanding performance by district staff and students. Oh, go to Karen, please.
Well, congratulations on a great school year. It's clear that we've made some real growth in our academics and discipline and obviously the great stadium and all of the wonderful things. I think LaPorte had a really, really good year, and I want to congratulate everybody for that. It takes a real team to get all that done. And I just want to say, I'm going to get choked up. We're going to miss you, Miss Green. Thank you so much for mentoring me, and it was a pleasure working with you.
I don't want to follow that. I want to say, everything that all of us do is always for the goal of graduating students and making good contributions to the society through our students as good citizens. And what a great celebration we had for both of our graduations. Both were well attended, the students were engaged, and it was just, both of them were very meaningful and special. And kudos to the behind the scenes people who make those things happen, who move the chairs, who fix the sound, who do all those things that make it all look so smooth to everyone else in attendance. And to all the people that at the service awards, we had a lot of retirees. And I think about those people and the amount of service that they've given to our students and our district over the years. And I just wish them, health, joy, and blessings in their retirements. And I hope everyone has a peaceful and restorative summer.
And I guess that's it. Thank you.
I would like to thank Mr. Whitcliffe for all your leadership at DeWalt this year. Are you going on a cruise soon or something? I like you and Russell look like you're about to go on a Hawaiian vacation, and I'm a little jealous. But thank you for your leadership at DeWalt and talking with staff there. You did a really good job. I want to thank Danny for his leadership as president over the past 2 years.
Yeah. Dang, I didn't do that.
Yeah, I didn't get to experience any other president, so I don't know what it's like, but I think Danny did a really good job, and we're wishing Jeff a lot of luck. To echo some of Deanne's comments, congratulations to all the retirements. When you think about these you get one life, and these individuals have dedicated 20, 30, years of service, 40 years of service to the district, and that's pretty remarkable. And a lot of them to the same district. I'm not even 30, so you've been working here before I was born, and that's just remarkable to me. And I just did that to mess with Deanne. But the congratulations, and we certainly appreciate it, and hopefully you have a great rest of your summer and get to enjoy a little bit of it. Done.
So Russell had to leave, but he wanted me to tell Danny, thank you so much for all that you've done. And he said, say something really good. So Webster's Dictionary defines a leader. No, I'm just kidding. He just wanted to give his gratitude for your leadership. And Russell really is a cheerleader for this board. He loves how we all work together. And so I really do appreciate that about him. He's saying nice things while he's not here. Maybe Jeff will too. But to everybody else on this board also, it's going through another year with all this has been such a blessing. I enjoy serving with you all and serving our campuses, our district, our teachers and principals and students and our community. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to do this and for trusting us to do this. Everything that we experienced in May with all the graduations and opening statements, it's such a blessing and it's such a great time to be in LaPorte. And with all the retirees leaving, there's a sadness to it. But they've been great people as well, and so there's a lot of excitement. So I really appreciate everything that everybody does, but again, for allowing us to be a part of it in this role. And for the parents who came and spoke tonight, just thank you for again advocating for your students and their peers, and for the teachers and parents who reach out to us on a regular basis, or even if it's been your first time. Thank you for advocating for feeling comfortable talking to us, because we do want to continue to make LaPorte the best that it can be. And just stay that's the best word. LaPorte has a lot of things going on in the summer, so just take a look on social media just for that. Just look at the district page and see, when you're not sure, just going to man, I just wish I was able to do one more thing for somebody. Just look at that and see what is being done for our students and for our educators. There's a lot happening over the summer, so they don't stop. So thank you for that too.
What a wonderful, wonderful way to end the year. It has been remarkable. I think we've made tremendous strides. Education is a infinite game. So, you don't get to rest on yesterday's success. We got to plow on and continue to move forward. We've got exceptional leadership across the board. So many dedicated people that just pour out their hearts in our young people, and that's what has to continue. Again, I don't care, home or not. It is truly remarkable and gets me in all of my feels, walking around Porte ISD and seeing what it is and what it's become and what it is becoming. And it is awesome. Truly, truly awesome to watch and be a part of in a small way. I do want to say that if you ever anybody has the opportunity to give their child their diploma, take it. I did not take that opportunity with Madison, and I regret it now 110%. That was one of the most satisfying, amazing experiences of my life, and I appreciate everybody that had a hand in it. It was absolutely perfect, and there's a lot of work that goes on to make that happen, so I appreciate all that. The other thing is, I butchered this last time, so give me a second to explain this. At work, we talk a lot about people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. You know, we sell tacos and rice and beans, but what we do with the money that we generate is the real work. And we may get caught up in tasks and maintenance orders or STAR test scores or a policy or procedure, but don't ever lose sight of why you're doing it in the first place. That's what is creating the synergy and the energy that's around this district. It's the people that genuinely and wholeheartedly care and pour their heart and soul into these people, and it is just paying dividends, and you can see it in so many intangible ways. And I know we just kind of glanced over it talking about the graduation, but what a remarkable moment to have those kids be that engaged in that moment, and you don't know that you have it until you have seen not having it. And just a few years ago, there wasn't that engagement. It just wasn't there. So it was remarkable, and that is kudos to the great work of all of you, all of the campuses, everybody's listening. Great things are going here. Jeff is going to do a remarkable job. This board has been fantastic to work with, and I look forward to continuing to moving it forward. So,
Thank you all for a great year. Thank you, board. Thank you to all of our administrators, our teachers, and our staff. We've had a great year. It sounds like it's May, but it's June already, and August 1st is coming, so we know that's what's on my mind. August 1st is coming, but thank you all for your support, and I know that these people appreciate your support as well. Thanks, sir.
I had a couple things. I'd be remiss if I first didn't acknowledge, my job at the chamber, more than anything, I'm an event planner. I know that you can have the best plan in place. You can plan out an event 12 months in advance, but when it's an outdoor event like graduation, like the orange and white game, you're relying on the man above. And it reminded me when we saw the video tonight how perfect the weather was. And you might not remember that it rained till like 2:30, 3 o'clock that day. So again, thank you to the man above for letting us have that thing. It's such an important aspect for our parents and those kids that hadn't had a home in 2 years. So very thankful for all the hard work and effort that went into that. Jennifer, Ms. Green, Marilyn Newman, Jancy Alfaro, again, thank you guys for your service. I echo the sentiments of everybody. You will be deeply missed. And certainly all the other retirees and people that have spent their career here at LaPorte ISD. Some of them, I grew up, I'm old, I had teachers. And so we are so appreciative, again, you are the heart and soul of everything that goes on here in the district. So we can't thank you enough for your service. And certainly we wish you the absolute very best in any and every endeavor going forward. Also, I'd be remiss to say, it just happens every year, but I get amazed that, at the end of the year, the last month and a half, there's retirement parties. Every campus has a party. There's multiple graduations. We talk about the high school, but there's multiple graduations. There's other service organizations that have gala. I mean, there's just, we go to some of them, and we try to go as many as we can, but when we're there, we notice that they're the administrative team and all these teachers, y'all go to so many things. And so I just want to say thank you. Like, that is such an important thing. I know teachers go back to like elementary teachers that go and to high school graduations because they had that kid in first grade. And that's such a special thing. That I don't know that's unique to LaPorte. The only thing I know is LaPorte, and I know that's something we do in this town, and it's such a cool, amazing thing. So I appreciate all those that continue. I know that y'all have families as well, and it's a big tax on your time, but y'all continue to pour in. So we really appreciate it. And lastly, I want to say, thank you to Danny. So y'all may not remember, we threw Danny into this role as president. He's been on the board for less than a year, and so he's testament that it's not the experience. Certainly, he's the experience. He comes with a wealth of knowledge, but it's the heart that he exhibited and his willingness to get in and learn. Again, when I say that, he didn't know about school. There's so many things he had to learn on the fly, and I am not, honest to God, looking forward to have to fill your shoes, man. And I know that individually it's not going to be possible, but I have full faith that collectively this board will work together. I gave everybody hell. We joke around a lot, including Russell. But I do love them all because we're so unique in our backgrounds, but we are common in that we all have a true heart to help better or be a part of making things better here in LaPorte ISD. And so I do love these people on this board. I appreciate you guys continuing to serve and to be active members in our community. So thank you guys sincerely. And thank you, Dr. Jackson and your team for all the work you guys are doing. If there's nothing else, I will say we will adjourn at